The most brutal punishments of Genghis Khan. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to talk about the most brutal punishments of Genghis Khan. So make sure to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this and like this video. The world's greatest conquistador in history was Genghis Khan. He is a legendary person who is probably only second to Jesus Christ in terms of reputation. And in popular culture, he represents ferocity and barbarism in its purest form. The charge of being to the right of Genghis Khan is perhaps the most devastating one that can be leveled against a current conservative leader. But the real Genghis Khan was an actual phenomenon. From the Adriatic to the Pacific, he and his sons conquered people, reaching modern-day Austria, Finland, Croatia, Hungary, Poland, Vietnam, Burma, Japan, and Indonesia. A territory the size of Africa was occupied by the Mongol Empire, which spanned 12 million continuous square miles. In contrast, the size of the Roman Empire was around half that of the United States. Since the Americas and Australasia were unknown to the global island of Europe, Asia, and Africa by 1240, Mongol conquests had largely taken over the known globe. 3 billion of the 7 billion people on the planet live in contemporary nations that were a part of the Mongol Empire at its height. Here we look at the most brutal punishments and most shocking acts. The crime against the Oirat. From 1229 to 1241, Genghis Khan's son Gide served as the Khagan emperor of the Mongol Empire. The massive Mongol hordes were sent by Gide, who loved war like his father did, thousands of kilometers in almost every direction to battle and build the empire. In addition, he was accountable for what one historian dubbed one of the greatest Mongol crimes ever documented. This was the Oirat girls' mass rape. According to Persian chroniclers, the Oirat people failed to provide the required number of young ladies for the Mongol emperor's harem in 1237. Gide resolved to punish the Oirat out of rage. He gave the order for his forces to repeatedly rape 4,000 Oirat girls in front of the girls' relatives. 2 of the girls perished, while the remaining females were used as sex slaves by the Mongol army, commerce caravans, and harem. Sex slavery. The Mongols themselves weren't precisely feminists, despite the fact that many of their women climbed to positions of considerable influence. Foreign women seized during their expeditions were either forced into concubine service or marriage to Mongol males. The subjugated peoples were frequently required to give the Mongols young maidens as tribute. One well-known instance is when the Siberian queen Botohui Tarhun tricked one of Genghis Khan's generals into an ambush. She became one of the few humans to defeat a Mongol army. After being taken by a subsequent expedition that had vanquished the Siberians, Botohui Tarhun was married off to a Mongol soldier and vanished from history. Some noble women made the best of a bad situation. When Genghis Khan conquered the Merkids, he gave their princess Torigin to his son Ogide. She soon eclipsed Ogide's other wives and ruled the empire for 5 years after his death. Alcoholism. The Mongols were poor shepherds with little recourse to alcohol. They mostly consumed fermented mare's milk, which was seasonal and only faintly alcoholic. However, cash began to flood into the hitherto backwater after Genghis Khan's conquests, and many Mongols soon found themselves living lifestyles of luxury with unrestricted access to wine and distilled drinks. As a result, by the time of Genghis' demise, drinking had grown to be a significant issue. Even the great Khan's family wasn't immune, and at least 2 of his sons, Tolui and Ogide, drank themselves to death. Their brother Chagatai was forced to strictly order his servants not to let him have more than a few cups a day. The problem was particularly acute with Ogide, who had succeeded Genghis as Khan. Ogide was almost completely dependent on wine, to the point that Persian historian Ata Malik Juvaini claims that Ogide often made key decisions drunk. Yelu Chukai, his minister, constantly urged the Khan to cut back on his alcohol use. The pledge, however, was never kept, particularly because his wife Torigin pushed him to continue drinking so she could seize control. The issue persisted beyond Genghis' sons. When visiting the palace of his grandson Mongki, the European monk William of Rubruck saw a prevalent drinking culture, featuring a silver tree with 4 pipes that freely distributed wine, rice wine, mead, and fermented mare's milk. Men guilty of the theft of a horse or steer of a thing of equal value will be punished by death and their bodies cut into 2 parts. For lesser thefts, the punishment shall be, according to the value of the thing stolen, a number of blows of a staff, 7, 17, 27, up to 700. He killed his brother for not sharing his food. Genghis Khan was the son of a strong chieftain when he was born, but things changed for him when his father was poisoned by a rival clan. The little child and his family were expelled from their house and had to forage for food, primarily consuming plants and animal corpses they discovered on the roadways. When he was 14, Genghis Khan found a fish and brought it back to his family, only to have his half-brother Badr snatch it from his hands and refuse to share a bite with anyone else. Furious, Genghis Khan stalked his brother until he was alone and murdered him with a bow and arrow. However, Genghis Khan did not totally get away with his first murder. His mother reportedly scolded him, so he at least had a fair talking to about how, in this family, we don't kill our brothers according to history. His victims' bones were mistaken for mountains. Genghis Khan attacked the Jin Empire in 1211 after focusing on present-day China. It was a hasty choice. The Mongols possessed 1 million subjects, whereas the Jin Empire ruled over 53 million, but Genghis Khan prevailed. 3 years later, the Mongols arrived at Zhongdu, now Beijing. The city's perimeter was encircled by 12 meters high city walls that extended for 29 kilometers. They decided not to attempt because it looked difficult to enter. The Mongols, however, starved Zhongdu to death. By the summer of 1215, there was widespread cannibalism due to the extreme hunger of the populace. When they finally gave up, the Mongols ransacked and burnt the city. The murders were horrifying. The bones of the killed had formed white mountains months later, according to a passing eyewitness, and human fat was still present in the soil.